If you take a look at all the current 26 Simpsons games, only one is crowned king above all else: The Simpsons Hit and Run. Universally loved by everyone who ever played this game, over the years since release has appropriately earned itself the title of masterpiece. But today, I'm not going to be talking about this game, rather shedding some love on its underrated older brother, The Simpsons Road Rage. The 2000s, to say the least, were not the nicest towards The Simpsons. The craze of the 90s was cooling down fast as more and more people stopped tuning in for new episodes past roughly season 14. The show was heading into the era known as Zombie Simpsons, which continues till this very day. It's safe to assume that the once titan of a show just couldn't keep up with the 2000s in any aspect and had simply run its course. Sort of like it having been made for the 90s. However, it was only on this front where The Simpsons were beginning to lose big league. Over on the vastly different video gaming front, a whole new chapter was about to be written. You see, the early to mid 90s were filled with 2D games which The Simpsons heavily partook in. It was all the rage for its time. In the late 90s, that playing field was beginning to fill with both traditional 2D and brand new 3D games. But now that the 2000s was upon them, game developers for the Simpsons franchise decided to take a bold step and make the switch from 2D to 3D games. And one of the first games that would be released in this fashion would be The Simpsons Road Rage in 2001. It was a driving game which combined sandbox elements and GTA-style mechanics while, of course, being based on the show. And maybe it's just my nostalgia talking, but I absolutely loved this game growing up. The story, or plot, followed show antagonist Mr. Burns, who goes on to buy every last bus in Springfield and begins to create his own line of radioactive buses, named the Burns Atomic Megabus, which he claims to be faster, cheaper, and completely safe. This, of course, isn't true and is an immediate threat to the public's health after a certain experience in which one of Springfield's citizens ends up turning a sickly, glowing radioactive green. Conditions continually get worse and worse to the point that in order to save their town, the citizens of Springfield must raise $1 million in an attempt to pay back Burns to return the town back to normal. Now, just how might a small middle-class town collect a whopping $1 million? Well, when Homer first learns of the danger posed by the buses, he gets the brilliant idea to make his own taxi service. After painting the side of his car with the words "Homer for hire," the game officially begins. Your goal is to earn money by acting as a taxi driver, played by various selectable characters and taking Springfielders from one location to another. With that being said, there are 4 playable modes in this game to suit people's various playstyles. The first, Road Rage, is the main attraction here. Drive around a number of classic Springfield locations and pick up characters from the show. Get them to their destinations ASAP and then get paid. Keep repeating this until the timer reaches 0. Each time you pick up or drop off a customer, you'll gain more time. With this mode being the meat and potatoes of this game, there were 6 playable districts. One was unlocked from the get-go, that being Evergreen Terrace. The other 5 you needed to unlock through progression. These places were the Entertainment District, Springfield Dam, the Nuclear Power Plant, which is my personal favorite, Downtown, and the Springfield Mountains. Sunday Drive is Road Rage minus the race against the clock. Everything is the same except you go at your own pace, no pressure whatsoever. This is perfect if you want some practice at the game or just want to go sightseeing and reminisce about the good old days of The Simpsons. Mission mode gives you 10 tasks to complete, each with a different character and objective. You may have to knock certain things down or get someone somewhere, etc. These missions are optional and completion isn't required to finish the game, just a little something neat to obtain collectibles for various characters. And finally, head to head is exactly what it says. You take to the Springfield streets again, but this time with some competition. A second player could insert a controller and feel the rage of the road too. The aim here is to pick up a customer and get them to their location. However, if your opponent hits you, they steal the passenger. It's the first person to deliver the needed number of passengers that wins. There are no time limits, you're not racing against the clock anymore. Now, you're simply up against another person. This mode was where I spent most of my time growing up, casually playing with my friends for hours on end, trying to outdo their scores, but seemingly failing each time to remain ahead. I'm pretty sure this game originally taught me spatial awareness, with memorizing each location on the map down to a T. Lastly, I'd like to mention the characters in which you're able to play as. There are 17 main characters you can select from, and 4 bonus holiday characters only accessible through cheat codes back in the PS2 days. From Marge to Krusty the Clown to Flanders and even Chief Wiggum, each individual character has their own vehicle and can be altered through unlockables. However, it's the interactions and dialogue shared between characters that really takes the cake here. The actual cast of The Simpsons did voice lines for this game, as they would for future games, to get a more authentic experience, just like the show itself. In conclusion, The Simpsons Road Rage remains a fond look back at my early childhood. It was one of the earliest games that I played and created so many memories with friends who I'm still in contact with to this day. Seriously, if there's a good port out there, then I highly recommend checking it out and playing with friends. Who knows, maybe you'll create some fond memories to look back on from this underrated masterpiece. Thank you for watching.